Same people, same places, same parties. Am I just a ghost at night? Too many street lights in this city, I'm missing our ocean side. I've been running, but I can't escape the feeling that I've been away for far too long. 'Cause there's something about our love that brings me peace of mind. Something special about the way our lives are intertwined. There's something about you that just leaves me mystified. Something pulling me to your heart, and I always want you by my side. Keep your body next to mine. wish I could relive the day I met you and fall in love a second time.
I forgot to unmute the mic. It's kind of a requirement, isn't it? If you're a streamer, that has to happen to you at least once. It's a rule. Now, one thing I did notice about yesterday's stream So the thing that's bugging me here is alright, doesn't matter. Oh. So, camera please, my face is here. There we go. So, yesterday's stream was a fantastic success. Essentially, I have a working network, as you can see by this window. And it works under UEFI with secure boot on real hardware, UEFI without secure boot in Hyper-V. It works within legacy boot, so BIOS, in Hyper-V, which means it is safe to assume it also works in real hardware on BIOS. I have a couple devices I can test with, but I want to make sure I get everything fully set up first. So today we're just going to go through and kind of tidy everything up. Because yesterday was a bunch of throwing stuff at the wall to see what sticks, and now that everything is where it's supposed to be, one of the things we need to do, for example, is style this boot menu. And I've been experimenting a little this morning in trying to get memtest and a Windows 10 ISO working. No worries, Root. I'm always talking to walls. So the issue I'm running into while trying to run the Windows ISO, numlock, that's why, is when it tries to load the Windows 10 install CD, it overflows, which is not ideal. So I have a couple things I need to test. To see if I can... I'm gonna have to grab the Acronis ISO off my other machine though. Alright. Now, this is the actual Nook. I had it plugged into my TV for most of the day, and the issue I keep running into with my TV is it seems to freak out a fair bit. And it only happens with computers, not with consoles. So if I have a Switch connected or an Xbox connected, it's fine. If I have my desktop PC or my laptop or this Nook, what ends up happening is the screen blacks out randomly, and that causes, on Linux anyway, for the graphics driver to freak out. And we don't want that. Because it then resets the resolution, and then that means I can't actually use the machine. So what I've done is I have two of these little guys. It's a HDMI splitter. And basically you have HDMI in on one side and then two HDMI out on the other. I've got basically a HDMI dummy display plugged into one and then the TV into the other, because that way if the TV freaks out, I've got a backup. I don't need that right now. What I actually need is Acronis. Now a few days ago I was... well, a couple weeks ago. Hey, Tim. A couple days ago, I was helping a friend migrate their computer to new hardware. And while doing so, we tried a bunch of tools to essentially try and solve problems for him. Unfortunately, none of the tools worked as seamlessly as Acronis TrueImage, because Acronis TrueImage was kind enough to ask, hey, you have a master boot record on this old drive, but this new drive, it's recommended to have GPT. Would you like us to convert it for you? And I was like, yes! And so it converted it for me and solved all of my problems. So after 2 days of fighting other tools. So, tool's great. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put it onto my network boot. So, I have a feeling this overflow is because of the size of the Windows ISO. Because that Windows ISO is a solid 3 gig. It doesn't seem to like that. I've come up with a workaround for the issue I was running into yesterday. And I've documented it in this README. So, TFTP doesn't like symlinks, so instead I'm just mounting boot grub with the contents of grub. And that way, the boot stuff has everything required for BIOS boot, and the grub folder has everything needed for UEFI boot, including signed files for secure boot, which is good because that means everything works the way it should. It should have originally. Okay. Right now we're just waiting for this to copy. And to make this task easier, I'm going to move this out of this little base QI adapter. I'm going to move this micro SD card, if I can get it out, into a proper adapter. And I'm just going to plug that into the side of the NUC, because transferring from Windows to Linux is a pain in the butt, and this saves time. However, I don't know for sure whether it will recognize. Yes, it will. I'm smart. Here's the thing that bugs me. I have to go manually through here, and then oh, but that's going to be. I have to do it this way. Ooh, sudo cp media 32, and then we're going to copy it to tftp boot. Oh yes. Mm-hmm. I'm just .iso. Welcome back, root. Cool. So now I've got two ISOs in here. Acronis TrueImage is just a little bit. 600 meg instead of 5.8 gig, which, whoa, that's big. So what we're now going to do is we're going to restart this and hope that the Acronis True Image ISO doesn't overflow memdisk. Actually, while it does that, this is a good sign. You'll notice that it's a pretty big file here. And it's transferring at not as fast as I'd like it to. Oh, actually, I've got it open down here, don't I? Essentially, all I'm doing is I'm loading progress memdisk, starting up so these are the grub modules, and then this is the actual executable for memdisk. Ah, that sounds lovely, Root. And essentially, I'm telling it to download it over a HTTP server, which should be faster. But what I'm seeing is it got stuck at 57 meg out of 671. That's not promising. That is one of the downsides I've noticed with BIOS. This does say booting, which I don't trust. I had to reinstall Glances and HTOP, because I originally installed them through... Yeah, it's not doing anything. I originally installed them through Snap, but because of Snap's stupid sandbox, they didn't have access to stuff. So for example, now, Glances actually has access to TCP connections, disk usage. If I scroll down... file system, and sensors. I would love it if my hardware was at negative 263 degrees. I believe that's a lie, but that'd be neat. So yeah. Having access to more stuff is always useful. This is what I was concerned about. It's just stopped. And I think that's one reason why this guy freaks out at a 5.8 gig file. Okay, we've got half an hour before EST has their New Year's. Because essentially I'm using this as a reference. You'll notice in here, menu entry, boot Acronis True Image ISO, progress, set ISO file to the HTTP entry, export it, memdisk it, and then launch. So I have to figure out if I can engine next on default. Okay, let's Well, because it's not doing anything, I'm just going to reset it and see if that helps. Because one thing I've learned about PXE boot is it's very inconsistent in its behavior. So this time, it died at 2%. What? What do you mean deleting? I'm just saying it's stopped. Internet. Excellent. So that's interesting. It requested the ISO before I even selected the file. And this time it didn't start downloading it at all. Connection timed out. There it is. I also don't know how to quit out of that if it hangs. I definitely need to raise the Nginx timeout. I think it's blocked me. I'm gonna pop this keyboard away. Reload Nginx. Okay, that seemed to be okay with that. Now, if this doesn't work, then I will try switching it from HTTP to NFS. No, TFTP? Yeah, TFTP. No. TFTP. To see if that helps. Fine. I wonder which half of it is timing out and caching it. I bet it's the grub side, because grub is incredibly buggy. I'm curious. It's the grub side. Alright, let's stop abusing it for a moment. And I'm going to launch VFI for a sec. One thing we're going to check just to verify. Okay. Up to 7 megabits a second. So now I'm loading it via UEFI rather than BIOS. And we're looking up... Internet, no grub. I want the big grub doc. Oh, just Linux grub manual, yeah. Because I want to know... Functionality is provided by shim lock module. Recommend to build in this and other required modules into the core image. All modules not stored in the core image have to be signed using PGP. Additionally, commands are prohibitive. The security is enabled. This is done due to security reasons. All above mentioned requirements are enforced by the shim lock module. Okay, but I want to... Is there a way for me to... Is there a... What's it called? Environment variable that tells me whether we are running in secure mode or not. Because in that case, I want to hide. Yeah, no kidding. 5 megabits a second over TFTP. Not terrible. Specifies to wait for keyboard input before booting. No, that's not what I'm looking for. Grub platform? PC or EFI? Okay. What do you mean normal mode? Enter normal mode and display the grub menu. Commands, file system and cryptography, and the full grub script password available. The file is given, the command will read from that file, otherwise it'll read from prefix. Ah, prefix. Tell me about. I'm starting to think at one stage I will have to try and rebuild Grub myself to enable a few modules. Hi Umberon, welcome to the stream, hope your day's going well. How are you this fine afternoon? So it's just sitting there. Don't know if that's a good sign or not, but it's not visually doing anything. Normally this guy's blinking. It's not currently blinking. This is the problem with running in a VM. You don't know what's going on until stuff breaks. Yeah, my day's going well. Got a few good Overwatch matches in earlier. Okay, well this is no longer transferring anything. So now we know that averages around 5 megabits. Now let's do the same thing over HTTP. I don't expect it to work on UEFI anyway. Let alone, I mean, I don't have secure boot on it at the moment. It's weird. But let's see what it averages for HTTP. About the same. Good to know. Alright, we'll see what it does when it hits 100%. This isn't blinking at this stage either. It didn't even try loading memdisk. Like, it never got to this echo, which is strange. Oh, this one's megabits, isn't it? It's actually 50 megabits. That's okay then. Yeah, Umberon, I don't stream as often as I would like. I just don't have the energy for it. And during holidays and breaks. Any questions? If you're stuck on something, if you're curious about something, if you've broken something and want to know how to fix it, if you're curious about certain features, how to use them, how to break them. So even though this is definitely connected over gigabit, it's still only transferring at 50 megabits. I wonder if part of that is the virtual network adapter that this guy has. But it is my gigabit adapter, so theoretically... Enable MAC address spoofing, router guard, protected network, mirroring mode, nicknaming, device. So first question would be, what method are you using to capture your Xbox? It reached 100% again. And stopped transferring. Now it's sitting there. That's weird. Loading mem disk, routine is punished for image. This bit gets stuck. Okay, so in that case, most likely, the Xbox Companion app, the resolution of the window, there are a few quirks with doing it that way. Your best bet is resizing that window to either 720p or 1080p, so don't full screen it or anything. You can actually move your mouse to the top right corner to essentially undock it, because it's full screen by default when you go into streaming mode. Resize that manually so that the window itself has no black borders, and then add a window capture source to OBS, and that way you'll have it as clean as possible in OBS. From there, if you drag that source around and there's still a border around it, that could be caused by a number of things, including, for example, DPI scaling on your screen. Game capture is usually better in terms of performance. So if game capture does work, which it should based on how we have stuff configured, then use that. If you want, try it with window capture and see if the behavior changes just without making any other changes, just to see if that fixes it on its own. But yeah. Those would be my suggestions. If you're still having issues though, post it in the OBS Discord, someone will help you figure it out. This thing never reaches memdisk. Alright, well, this doesn't seem to work, which is a bummer. I'm gonna verify whether booting it in here... Oh, that crashes immediately. Okay. So this guy crashes. No, it just sits there. Why do all of these just sit there? At least tell me what's wrong. What we're actually going to do is we're going to turn off both VMs, and what I need to do here is I want to do something similar to and we're not actually going to do this. If grub platform. So let's try UEFI and verify that that menu option disappears. No, it does not. None of these are close to what I'm looking for. I thought what I wanted to do was pretty simple. Oh, I see what I did. Got my conditional backwards. So theoretically this should only show up. Yeah, okay. Does work. Neat. So we only care about PC or EFI. Now if I load this in UEFI. Cool. And if we load it in Legacy. For now it's still pretty rare. I'm usually too tired after work. Yeah, I don't know why it crashes. Otherwise I would stream more. Don't care about timeout. I want... Root, on your side or mine? Probably both, huh? Do nothing unsuccessfully. Alright, let's see what happens. Oh, it does this sometimes too. Even though... Yeah, this one here apparently sometimes freaks out. It can't grab cord or zero. Which is fine, I just restart the machine, but you didn't have to do that. Okay. I also don't get any errors about memtest not loading. Yeah, don't do that to yourself. That's not a solution. Should we try a mem test ISO and see how that goes? Pricing? Why would I need Pro? Precompiled bootable ISO. Sure. Yeah, I can probably just do it by hand, can't I? Save myself some time. Okay, how big are we looking? 1.8 meg. Yeah, let's load that ISO. Let's see if that one works. Okay, so... Let's see what happens. Why? Why do you just stop? This is the thing with BIOS, it just doesn't do what you need. Yeah, it just dies. Whereas UEFI works. Just once it tries to do things, it freaks out. In this case, memdisk silently run. Connection timed out. That's not nice. There's something that's not happy with my network connection. Oh, and now Hyper-V just isn't rendering anything. Memdisk just doesn't launch on UEFI. It's supposed to at least tell me what it's doing. I like how this one tells me about transferring echo.mod, which is what prints these messages. Like, I don't know that it's printing these messages. I'm never going to remember that one. In seconds, yeah. Oh, Happy New Year to EST. Bang. I also need fireworks. There we go. Got myself some cherries. Kind of left them sitting there for an hour. Again. So yeah, EST done. That leaves CST next. I like how this doesn't specify the default. You've got 1 hour to go, Root. Strawberries are pretty good. It's very strange. Let's see if this helps. So what we're going to do is we're going to see... Oh, I need to copy this over. So these are the Hyper-V modules we need. New Year's countdown. Oh no, I hit the wrong one. I need the fireworks gone. There we go. I loaded up the old server, so I can actually fetch the Hyper-V modules needed to actually launch the Hyper-V frame buffer, among other things. So we're going to actually quickly fix that. Sudo nano nfs root primary etc init ramfs module. So we append these guys. So these are the bits needed for Hyper-V. There were some that I was trying for Surface Wi-Fi and Realtek Ethernet drivers, but there is a separate Surface apt source that I'm going to try instead. And I couldn't get it working with the old setup. Likely because of these guys. So with a fresh setup, we should be able to have better luck. I really don't know what's going on here. Copy's over, it just doesn't launch memdisk.
I'm walking slowly towards you. I want a tour of your world and what we can do, but I'm a little overwhelmed. Ooh, my head's full up with what ifs and what if this all falls.
Yeah, a lot of fruits like strawberries are very easy to get bitter. And once you do, it sucks. So in general, we're just not having much luck with memdisk launching ISOs. They get transferred over just fine, and then it just sits there. The one thing I'm going to try is I'm going to try doing it without the boot. Let's see how we go. We'll start with the ISO from memdisk. Aha! That's annoying, but I understand. Basically, I wanted to make my files a little, nicer in terms of formatting. rm sudo rm boot mem disk. That's annoying. So it just silently failed rather than telling me it couldn't find memdisk. And rather than actually doing something about it, it just sat there. The other issue I ran into... It died. 1%. Thanks, HTTP server. In that case, if I turn this off... If I do it in UEFI, does memdisk work? The memdisk just does not work outright. In UEFI. Yeah. So this is the Acronis one over HTTP. Okay. Let's not bother over HTTP for now, because we know the transfer speeds are about the same, and one of them likes to time out. I can add if things on them, conditionals, onto the network transfer one at least. I just don't get why it's not doing anything right now. Do I have to restart the TFTP server for some reason? I'm very confused why this stuff misbehaves. And it's not even like one component keeps misbehaving. It's all of them. Grub sometimes just unsuccessfully... What, did the TFTP server fail to launch this time? It's just sitting there. And then it just 404s randomly. TFTP is not reliable. I'm just gonna restart the server. At this stage, I don't know what else it could be. I don't have my Ubuntu my Mac OS VM running, do I? No. It's waiting for the TFTPD process to shut down. Okay. In the meantime, split horizontal. Right there. I think it's warranted. They should not have rushed the game out. I think people are assholes and would have complained regardless. But executives don't care. And that's the problem. People with money do not care. As long as they're making more money. Oh, Arch doesn't support secure boot. Funny. Alright, let's see what happens. Exactly it. At least trust the HTTP server a little more. While that's going, because that is unrelated, I can actually boot into UEFI and rebuild the kernel with all the Hyper-V modules. Or it can bother not render. Multifaceted. You can easily blame people for being assholes, management for craving money, and the poor devs are stuck in between, right? First run usually works okay, and then the future ones just get stuck. It's not good.
I just need a little bit more of your love.
This thing's so unpredictable. Now grub won't load. Fine, let's... Happy New Year, Caudle. Hope you're doing well. Oh. You must specify at least C, U, or D. U to update existing ones. So essentially now what I'm doing is I'm rebuilding the RAM disk that gets loaded with the modules. Now I have no way to be sure and then I can verify using ls init ramfs. This one is, yeah. So this is the Nook. This one. This one here is the Nook. And most recently, as in yesterday during stream, I managed to get this one running as a PXE boot host. Which means that while this is the Ubuntu that's running on that machine, this guy here is running in a VM, but getting all of its files from that guy. Alright, ls init ramfs boot init the image 540 binary. Okay, HID Hyper-V. Excellent. So now that has all the Hyper-V modules, and I can verify that the old one didn't. CD init. ls init ramfs. Oh, it did. It did. Are you lying to me? What's the list of modules that I added? Etc. Net manifest module. VM pass. Oh yeah, it was already in there. Alright, well let's see if I'm crazy then. Apparently, those were already included. We're going to launch at 1920 by 1080. So essentially, the Hyper-V Gen 2 frame buffer is a frame buffer that's capable of 1080p, but it's slower. The rendering is slow. I will say, having this thing on a gigabit connection is so good. It just boots so much faster. Right, now that we've got that out of the way, turns out didn't need it in the first place, but it's good to have it in there just in case. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set up this guy. So we need... I do need to figure out how to tell Edge to stop trying to save or create a new password vault. But that's fine. Another half hour before CST's New Year. Alright. Yeah, there it is. I don't need a new keyring. The tricky bit is it says after that you can install our secure boot key. This will import the key that the Linux Surface kernel is signed with into your bootloader, so the kernel is bootable without disabling secure boot. This package will print instructions to the terminal, but please install it on its own, not as part of a bigger patch. The problem with that is I am not entirely sure how to do that over a network boot, because the network boot doesn't care as much about providing UI. So for example, when I originally set up the NUC itself, so this guy right here, with secure boot, because I'd rather have a real secure boot environment that's actually running Linux, then when I actually loaded Grub initially, it was like, hey, would you like to add this particular new key? And I had to explicitly say yes. That has never happened with the network boot. And I'm not sure if there's a way for me to manually add keys without having to go through Grub. Maybe I'd have to rebuild Grub with the keys included? Not sure. For now, let's actually... The other thing is, this guy uses a 5.10.2 Surface kernel. And I've only tested with 5.4.0. My other concern is that this assumes it will always run on the Surface. Which theoretically shouldn't break anything. It's one of those details where it's like, I don't like the idea. But we shall see. So while it's doing that, we do have a separate surface entry here. Five and two surface. I'm assuming it comes with its own RAM disk too. Just a matter of checking that it works, you know? It's just a bunch of progress bars, this process, isn't it? At the very least, we know that most of this stuff works now, which is great. You'll notice here at the moment we have generic, 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 and generic, right? And these all point to 54058. Right now we're building 5.10.2-surface. Yeah, sounds about right. Heat does travel up, so... There we go. Boot init rd.image hyphen 510.2 hyphen surface. Cool. 510.2. And we're actually going to do primary root dev nfs 10.5. I unfortunately don't have enough network adapters and cables to test this today. Because what I have to do is I have to move the laptop that currently does all of this network boot, or that used to do the network boot stuff until last night, away from where it is at the moment. Okay. So now, if we list these again, we should now have these two. There we go. They are now copied over, and we need to verify 5.10.2 hyphen surface. Cool. Well, I'll verify that another time. I just need to make sure there was one other thing that wanted me to do. So this will have some instructions I need to worry about. Now, automatically enrolled for you and guarded with the password surface. To finish the enrollment process, you need to reboot, where you will be then asked to enroll the certificate. During the import, you'll be prompted for the password mentioned above. Make sure you're indeed adding the right key, and confirm by entering surface. Note that you can always manage your secure keys, including the one enrolled, from inside Linux via the mockutil tool. Now, that's the bit that I don't know will actually run. So that's all set. Most of the time, 0.1. I think, maybe? Hold on. No, not really. So... Most of the time, whole degree. I can see why 0.1 increments would make sense for Fahrenheit. But it would also mean having to click a lot more to get the same amount, right? Okay, well that's done. Let's get a head installed in here. Let's try building OBS on Mac in the VM. Now, if I remember correctly, oh, I didn't mount. Need a remount. Why? Why is macOS bad? Yeah. That reminds me, hey look, that doesn't work. Like, why doesn't Alt-Tab contain all frickin' windows? Yeah, my mum has been using Android for a couple of years now. We got her a newer, larger phone because she was using a tiny Nokia something. Oh, that's right, so I was streaming last night with this exact music to Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Facebook cut out when my bitrate hit 0, which was about half an hour in. Whereas Twitch and YouTube continued on like normal. But additionally, on Facebook, most of the VOD was muted because of the music I'm listening to. The music I'm listening to being a new album by Approaching Nirvana, who essentially says as long as you buy the album, you're allowed to play their music. Although I think those rules are specifically for YouTube and Twitch. They might not have the same availability on... Yeah. YouTube, Twitch. Search in taps on GitHub for something. What didn't you like? Why is right-click so unpredictable? Everything is using all of the resources. This thing's downloading at max speed. This is installing at max speed. Music ended because the album was finished. That's okay, we've got 12 minutes until CST. Then after CST, we've still got MST and PST, so another 2 hours. I don't know if I'll stay online long enough for Alaska, because by then, dinner will be the focus of my day. There we go. I even have a working virtual camera. Interesting that I had to redo that. I have a working virtual camera in a secure boot. Well, actually, no, secure boot isn't enabled. In a VM that does not have secure boot enabled. That's nice. My work doesn't officially give us a week off. We get a couple days as part of obvious public holidays. But for the most part, because all our clients are in Japan, Korea, and so on, we don't take the days off. Which is a bummer, but... So I took both the weeks off myself. Let's try enabling secure boot in here and see what happens. There's the surface kernel, which I'll test later. Yeah, see? Invalid signature. Which is a lie, because it definitely has the right signature. But Hyper-V's signatures don't match. Interpreting you. Yeah, that's a different signature, so that's fine. Yeah, so I can no longer secure boot Hyper-V itself. But I can secure boot... What if I do it with the TPM module? No.
Same people, same places, same parties. Am I just a ghost at night?
Yeah. Not sure why it does that.
In this city, I'm missing our ocean side. I've been running, but I can't escape the feeling that I've been away for far too long. 'Cause there's something
Alright, what if I do it from my laptop?
brings me peace of mind. Something special about the way our lives are intertwined.
Which is funny. As long as the laptop is connected over Wi-Fi... Wait, why are you running? Why do I have a VM that's been running here for 2 days?
And I always want you by my side, keep your body next to mine.
Yeah, oops. I'm quite sure this one has secure boot enabled. Let's verify. Yeah.
New people, new
Oh dear.
places, we're the same. A moment frozen in time. Wish I could
I mean, a boot image wasn't found.
I met you and fall in love with say
Do I have to adjust my network switch?
could run, but
What network?
I know I can't escape the feeling
Ah.
if I'm far
Okay, new virtual switch.
from you for too long.
New virtual switch.
'Cause there's something about our love that brings me peace of mind.
Yeah, it uses the internal network.
Special about the way our lives are intertwined. There's something about you that just leaves me mystified.
It'll disconnect me for a bit, that's fine.
Pulling me to your on the side, keep your body extra warm.
The funniest part about this capability of, as long as the host is connected to the network, even over Wi-Fi, then the VM can connect to a network boot. It didn't work in the office. For some reason, the Wi-Fi would drop me out. Or time me out. If I was connected by Ethernet on the laptop, it would work fine. Okay, 6 minutes for CST. Really struggling on this. I've seen it disconnect twice now. There we go. Disconnected me again. It's connected again. Yeah, well, so like this is a thing where it's, I don't want to dual boot Ubuntu. That is the only reason I do this. But while I have this, there are other neat things I can do, like boot on any piece of hardware, including a VM or another computer on the network, which is pretty neat. So I continue to experiment with something that is supposed to, well, for the most part, worked out of the box yesterday. With the right config files, it was pretty happy. I just, as always, go one step further. So this is with Secure Boot on the laptop. Which means my Secure Boot certificates on Hyper-V on my main computer must be outdated or broken or something. I wonder if I delete and recreate that Secure Boot, this guy right here. Let's try it. New VM. Network UEFI, Gen 2, startup memory 4096, let's give it 4 gig of RAM. Let's give it the Intel Gigabit Ethernet. Let's attach a hard drive later. Boot from network adapter, Secure Boot enabled with UEFI, the certificate authority. Let's give it 4 virtual processors. Let's disable checkpoints. So yeah, even with Secure Boot, it's booting fine on the... Why must you hurt me? Yeah. So this one booted with Secure Boot just fine. Just gonna minimize everything. Seriously. Oh, 1 minute to go. Yeah, so this is a bit slower than it should be. But to be fair, the laptop's on Wi-Fi. This might be the first time I'm loading some Hyper-V aspect. Yeah. Alright. Well, at least we know it successfully gets that. So let's see if me having a new installation here works any different. Yeah. So there's something funky with this guy. Yeah, okay. 4 gig of RAM, 4 virtual processors. Oh hey, Happy New Year! I lost track of that final minute. Welcome to 2021. So we can actually delete this guy. See? With secure boot. And I bet if I aha. Could not insert vfile 2 loopback. Operation not permitted. So this was the issue I was running into. That certain things just didn't work properly in secure boot in a VM. Yeah. That's exactly it. It was the tutorial and we all failed. Oh, I don't know. Every country did. Yours just failed incredibly poorly. You got all Fs. We got, like, Ds. Alright, well, I now have a working secure boot VM again. The fact that I had to just recreate the VM is hilarious and really, really sad. Alright, well, in that case, we are going to Oh, because I got the IP address wrong, that's why. No? Uh-huh. What was your IP? 16. Yeah. Connect me. Oh, you wanna do it. Never mind. I just need read-only anyway. Cool. Boot. Grub. Hmm. Hmm. Oh, actually, at this stage, I can just CH own this folder. Oh, I do own it. Okay. Now let's make sure our theme loads. No, it didn't. Why didn't our theme load? Theme, why did you not load? Set theme. Java/theme. Hmm. Did it just not try and load the theme files? So we're gonna minus R. Oh. Should solve all my problems. Cool. That's fonts. We've got themes. That covers all the complicated stuff. I just don't know why it's not loading the theme file. There it is. Job done. And it has nice fonts now and everything. Oh no! Okay. But why did it fail to boot? Like, sure, let me know, but boot anyway. Yeah, I need a way to... At this stage, I can safely shut down this other one, because I've copied everything from the home directory. The only things that didn't copy over properly were config files for some reason. Which is fine. I'm glad all of this worked. Oh, I forgot to update the overlay. 31. That leaves MST and EST. Grab manual. Gets hot in my room very quickly. I wonder. I need to get like a desk thermometer or something I can clip onto my clip onto a monitor. Some of these actually look pretty neat. They look huge, but they're neat. One's 50 baht. I think I had something like this before. Why would I need a 3-pack? 25 bucks for a 3-pack.
There's a place I can trace every line of me. I can taste every inch of the space I step into. Am I free? Sometimes I feel like I'm floating. Sometimes I feel something deep down. I don't know if the knot's gonna give up or if I'll turn inside out. Watch me.
These all provide more info than I need. Displays in Fahrenheit. Yes, I noticed. Why would I want that?
Silence, silence, please. I'm feeling happy.
All of them are hygrometers. I just need temperature. I just need a thing that says a number that tells me how hot it is in my room. No worries, Root. Same to you. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Now what I can actually do is I can delete a bunch of these test videos. A bunch of old video drivers. Unnecessary shims. I'm gonna keep this guy. I can delete these guys too, because I've already extracted them. I don't need this one. I don't need old versions of VirtualBox. Or old versions of Edge. Oops. Or old versions of Discord. Or old Ceph binaries. Or all the versions of Steam. Yeah, GDebbie is the one I was thinking of. App install GDebbie. I appreciate you looking out. Yeah, basically something like that. I just don't need this whole bottom half, and I don't know if this one in particular shows Celsius. Yeah, switchable. Air comfort indicator. Because basically, I could stick it to the back of my monitor so I can only see the top half. I don't care about the bottom. And I could get this to arrive very, very quickly. It'd arrive Sunday. Alright, let's do it. Oh, hey, Mats. How you doing? Happy New Year. Got another 40 minutes before Panda has her New Year's. How many bits does GDebbie need? Good lord. Holy crap. It's just a package installer GUI. Come on. Too late, already bought it. Yeah, I don't need that much. I'm happy with just a basic temperature. Alright. Now let's do this again. Where is it? Oh, sec. Oh, I already have it installed. Even better. Just gotta make sure it launches, you know? It made it flicker. Does that count? Oh. GDebbie was all I needed. It was a very big download. Lots of components. It's much simpler than the alternative. I don't need solitaire. I just browse the apps and store. What else do I have on here that I don't need? Root, I've already bought it. You said you were heading off. Go. Be free. I don't get why there's no uninstall UI here. Oh, it's just labeled Klondike, isn't it? No? Clipboard! Too many clipboards. And that works. Of course it does. So, what else can I... What is Ramina? It looks like a remote desktop sort of theme. Found it. At this stage, I'm just cleaning up stuff that I'll never use that's taking up space on my limited SSD. Because I have to remove it from both the... Is it not on the actual parent? That's neat. Yeah, see, this doesn't have anything extra. Meanwhile, this one... What am I removing? I don't mind having LibreOffice on there. Yeah, I can keep that. It came with transmission. Wow. Might come in handy at some stage, who knows? Probably not. I assume Shotwell is like a photo editor and yeah. A 6 megabyte thing. Every little bit counts when your SSD is tiny. Who names their program Cheese? Come on. That'll save me 50 meg. Actually, that doesn't even count the whole thing. It's not worth the time. But yeah. So I did look into Arch diskless, but I'm not sure if I could actually build it while running on Ubuntu. It wants a sparse file. So that it has a file system. Why can't I just do the same thing I did with Ubuntu, huh? Like, this process seems more complicated. Grub dark magic. Yeah, so here's the dumb thing about VirtualBox. I have it set up to boot off the network adapter. And it does this instead. So the PXE one worked. Let's try this. Let's see if it works better than Hyper-V. I mean, it's running Hyper-V as its hypervisor. I guess the interface is just VirtualBox. We'll see what happens. I'm not entirely sure what the bottleneck here is. It could just be the fact that I'm running in a VM. Because everything is gigabit from the connection of the NOC to the network switch that it's connected to, and then to this computer that is also connected to the same switch. I've already got stuck. We need like exciting music that kind of builds up the fact that it's making progress. Yeah, this speed is not ideal. Mm-hmm. Pretty much, Base Hunter. How you doing? Happy New Year. Basically, I'm transferring an ISO from one computer on the network to another as slow as possible. Just to make the time pass, you know? We have previously reached 100%, but because that only seemed to happen on... No, that did only happen before I fixed the path to memdisk. So what I will do is I'll move the loading mod, the loading module, further down the list so that it doesn't report echo and memdisk, because memdisk is tiny. The only one we really care about is Acronis. Well, the ISO in general. %. And here's the thing, if Acronis, which is an 800 meg file, takes this long, I'm not going to do this with a Windows 10 ISO, which is 8 gig. It's just not worth anyone's time. However, it could just be the fact that it's running in a VM that's causing it to run so slow. And if that's the case, and running it on real hardware isn't as bad, then I'll keep it on there. But I do have to hide it behind a secure boot check anyway, because otherwise it just yells at you. I think it downloads the whole file and then yells at you, which is not ideal. The question becomes, is it possible for me to determine if secure boot is enabled within Grub? Failure. Assuming this is the only drive. Drive probing gives drive shift limit. Oh, so it won't run in the VM anyway. Because the VM doesn't have a hard drive. Good to know. I can't tell if it crashed VirtualBox or VirtualBox just shut down because it didn't work. That's funny and good to know though. Alright, so if I run memtest86 plus, that one crashes, but the ISO variant doesn't. Okay. Good to know. I actually crashed VirtualBox. I did it. VirtualBox used to not be crap. There was a time. Yes, sir. If I'm right, this guy... Where is it loading IPXE? I could have sworn that was an ISO that it had to load to get that far.
I'm walking slowly towards you.
Hmm.
I wanna tour of your world and what we can do, but I'm a little overwhelmed. Ooh, my head's full up with what ifs and what if this all falls through. I let you in, our world begins. I open up, I break your heart. What if you do it first? I'll be heartbroken. If heaven's kind and you are mine, I like the rest. We fall forever, but we'll never know until we know. I'm walking slowly towards you. I want a tour of your world and what we can do, but I'm a little overwhelmed. Ooh, my head's full up with what ifs and what if this all falls through. It feels so good. I don't wanna run away. I don't wanna run away. I wish I could. What if?
So what this is gonna allow me to do is to install the VirtualBox guest editions, if it boots. I'm not assuming it will. But if it boots, I can install the VirtualBox guest editions, which will then allow me to resize the window, and it'll dynamically adjust its resolution, because the Hyper-V guest editions alternative, essentially, cannot be installed manually. It is only available in like the official Ubuntu images that are downloaded via like the quick install flow. which is super frustrating. But the general idea of this entire setup is I can boot to the same Ubuntu regardless of what I'm using. Base Hunter, that would have been 25 or 26. I think it was 20. I think it was 26. Probably 25. Now this is the one downside of booting BIOS rather than UEFI, and I run into this issue with real hardware, where it just sits there for a long time. Then it's probably 25. I'm liking this default resolution, by the way. Yeah, it was 25. Yeah, this doesn't look good, does it? Yeah. Well, the whole purpose of that feature is so that this is configured as an Ubuntu thing, yeah, cool. Was so that third-party services like Stream Elements could add that capability to their website, and then you just drag and drop it. Like, that's the whole point of that capability. And that's why it lets you set resolution, because SE uses canvas size. Whereas default browser sources use 800 by 600. "10 minutes for MST. I'm glad I actually got it to boot in VirtualBox now. And the reason for the fact that it actually successfully booted is gigabit versus 100 megabit on the server itself. Yeah, it's still spamming about the NFSD client. Very strange. I did shut down the other two VMs, didn't I? Oh no, I didn't. That's probably why. Two computers running the same... Yeah, that's not ideal. That might have caused some things to freak out. Don't boot your OS twice at the same time. It won't corrupt it outright, but it is not recommended. But yes, we specifically built a demo page where you can actually just do it, you know? And I even included a code snippet to make it easy. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I may have to reboot this. Ah. I don't care about IE10. What year is this? Hi, Dylan. Happy New Year to you. Sure. Enjoy. No, I don't. I remember this having a thing where it told you percentages of browser usage table. Here we go. IE10. Do I want to target 0.02% of users? This here is Japan. Okay, do I care about the 0.4% of users on IE10 and older? My answer is no. No, I don't care about. You know why I don't care about them? Because they're not using OBS. Because this particular feature is OBS related. I mean, OBS Studio does not run on... And that doesn't run on XP either. So I don't see the problem. Unpatched unpatched Windows 7 does, yes. Why? N2 or N3? My favorite thing about this solution is it doesn't tell me anything. I also don't know if this actually is working. How many resources did I give this poor VM? Oh, it's got 8 GB of RAM and 6 virtual processors. Do you think it's using them? Using 1 core. What is? The shell is. Just the shell. Just the shell itself. To be fair, it's example code. Your web developer doesn't know that const doesn't work in IE11. That's their own problem. Actually, do the drag events even work in IE11? Yeah, there's your problem. Partial support. It doesn't support set drag image. And limited supported formats for set data and get data. Which might be... which could be that it doesn't support text URI list. So this line definitely won't work. This bit might not work. And if this bit doesn't work, then it won't work at all. So this is doing something. I don't know if it's doing anything useful. I can safely unplug that Ubuntu USB drive, actually. I still don't know why it did that weird behavior yesterday. What's mimic? Before you're fine. Ah, mock manager. This is not what I typed. What happened? Yeah. Both or just set drag image? Because you could add a conditional on the set drag image. But if the set data doesn't support URI list, which is entirely possible, then yeah. That sounds about right. Yep. So not a problem. I cannot help you. So the one annoying thing about trying to use the same build folder for both Ubuntu and macOS is permissions don't line up. What's the problem? Swig failed to start. Wrong number of arguments. I think that might be... Oh, wrong version of Swig. Yeah, I'll just need to redo this entirely. Don't care enough at the moment. This guy's still working hard. Alright. I don't know whether to just kill this and try again because of the two seg faults or not. I don't know if it's just sitting there or what. Oh, wait. So we've got Ubuntu Safe Graphics OEM install. This could be neat. Oh. Yeah, i11 doesn't like arrow functions either. The whole purpose was to make the code as short as possible for the demo. Quiet splash, no mode set. File CD-ROM. How do you know to read? Where do you read the CD-ROM from? I'll do. It all reads from pre-seed. And then OEM config. Oh, it's all the same thing. I could literally add this as an option. That could be fun. If it's CFI, boot from next volume and this. I might keep this. Could be fun. Let's see what happens. I'll have to test that on real hardware, see how that goes. Yeah. I'm killing this thing. I'm just gonna try it again. Do I reboot so that it... Yeah. Oh, we also know that this guy does not work. And we have the ISO version anyway, so... VirtualBox is, Oh, and I missed MST. Well... There's some fireworks for MST's New Year's. Typical me. I probably don't need that separator on, Also, that didn't load the fancy one. I'll have to figure out why. That's rude. But we actually want... native. Stop telling me about this. I know how things work. Thank you. So we can move this guy into here. Cool. Bump that up to 32. And then as soon as PST has had their New Year's, I will end stream. Still playing with that code, Dylan? Amber, not much. Just that I keep missing each New Year's. I keep not looking at the clock around the time that I'm supposed to be celebrating. Which is fine. That sounds fun. Okay, by moving insmod progress down the list, we'll only know about the transfer rate of the actual file that we care about rather than everything. Dylan, if you're still around, thought you might be curious, but you've probably forgotten. I still haven't gotten networking working properly with a laptop on Wi-Fi for the network boot stuff. VMs work, real hardware works as long as it's not a Realtek network adapter. But the moment you throw in a Realtek network adapter, everything goes terrible. Ubuntu just does not have great Realtek network support built into its kernels. Which part? If you want to change the canvas size itself, you go into the settings and then video. If you want to change the view itself, either resize the window or right click on the preview, select preview scaling canvas. Then you can hold space while you drag the preview around, or the scroll wheel to scroll in and out and zoom the preview. This is the main downside of BIOS boot for a network boot, even on gigabit. It just sits there on a black screen. Silent. Like, I don't even know what it's doing. Is it struggling? Oh, it does have an ISO in there. Okay. Up the virtual box. I have this issue on a lot of devices in my home network. Where trying to just boot BIOS results in black screen on login. Sometimes I don't even get the login screen. Super frustrating. Because it should just work. Oh no. If I... Yeah. And if I do error log, has that got anything? Last error was 2 hours ago. Which is when I last restarted it. This was freaking out. Yeah. This stuff is strange sometimes. The Fedora diskless information is very bare bones. And very generic. Like, it tells you what to do without telling you what to do. Well, like... It basically says... To accommodate diskless lines, the root directory should contain a complete Fedora 14 installation. You can synchronize this with a running system via rsync, which is fine. Replace hostname with the hostname of the running system with which to synchronize. So that assumes that's not the current one. So I could run a Fedora VM, then copy that over into a directory over the network, right? Otherwise, you can use yum with the install root option to install Fedora to a specific location. So yeah, I could run Fedora in a VM, SFTP, SSHFS mount it with the directory on this machine, and then install it, export the file system. Alright, let's do it. I'm not going to manage this in half an hour, but let's try it. Oh, it's a 2 gig file. So this is why I switched to LightDM instead of GDM3, because GDM3 over BIOS just does not run well. I was trying a little. Doing something. Copying something somewhere. Let's close this for now. Select the kernel the diskless clients should use. Edit the boot config to use the files within TFTP boot. Should instruct to mount the exported file system as read-write. Yeah, we do that. Replace server IP with the IP address of the host machine on which TFTP launched. Yeah. Client can boot of the net. So, actually, these instructions are very succinct. And should work pretty well. Let's set up. We're gonna need a VM. Which version? 33? Is that where I'm storing virtual hard disk? I hope not. While this transfers, I'll be right back.
Same people, same places, same parties. Am I just a ghost at night? Too many street lights in this city. I'm missing our ocean side. I've been running, but
I'm back with another 40 seconds on the clock.
feeling that I've been away for far too long. 'Cause there's something about our love that brings
You'll need to use a virtual cable and the Windows 10 audio rerouting stuff, Umberon. In the OBS Discord, there's a command, VAC, V-A-C, and that'll give you all the instructions you need. But Tim, this is less fun.
New people, new places, we're the same. A moment frozen in time.
It comes with its own bootloader.
Wish I could relive
What's wrong with
the
Grub?
day I met you and fall in love a second time.
Was Arch in that list?
But I know
Yeah, it is, the first one.
can escape the feeling if I'm far away from you for too long.
Yeah, it has its own kernel.
'Cause there's something about our love that brings
I mean, it has a lot, and that might be worth doing.
something special
But I've just spent 2 days getting this working.
intertwined. There's something about you that just leaves me mystified. Something pulling me to your heart, and I always want you by my
Where's the fun in that?
side next to mine.
I mean, this isn't the first time I've streamed this. No, that's okay. I don't know if I would want something that black boxy. Like, sweet, it can launch all sorts, but there are a couple downsides because I don't know how much space it requires. Yeah, it has its own kernel that gets booted from grub. So technically I could append this on the work I've done already. But like most of it, I wasn't expecting to have multiple things anyway. In this case, I'm just trying out Fedora to see if it's as easy as the instructions seem to imply. We'll see what happens. Apparently I can't secure boot this ISO. Good to know. Oh no, actually, that's why. Why was it configured for Windows? And actually, technically, I don't need to install. I just need to boot the live device. The live CD, in this case. The live ISO. I also like how, even though it's Fedora, that is clearly the same core. Oh no. This looks very Ubuntu to me. I don't know if this is worth my time. Yeah, Arch is the big one because a lot of people there's a OBS Studio package for Arch that they have a lot of like, and for FreeBSD where they just change a bunch of things so that it works. And I'd be curious how different the experience is there. But at that stage I could just run a standard VM of those environments. Wait, I can... Oh, they have an IPXE EFI. That's neat. Whatever. The 600 meg file. It's a waiting game. Progress bar's here, downloads here. Full screen. But yeah, this is neat. I don't know if I'd use it. Maybe as an ISO or a USB. Like, I wouldn't mind having all of those available to me on a... How big is this downloader? What do you mean creation of? What? I'm already lost. I already don't know what this is, what you're supposed to do with this. Basically, you need an internet connection, and on first load, it'll load up this page so that you can choose to download a thing using the bootable piece of thing. I just don't get how you're supposed to download one of the bootloaders and start PXE booting. The bootloaders are precompiled versions. If you already have IPXE up and running, but I don't. Yeah, these instructions are rubbish. How to use an ISO to boot. Okay. Burn the ISO image. This guy. Let's boot from this disk. Fine. Add hardware. Easy controller. DVD drive. Image file. Yeah, this thing seems dumb. Again, black boxy. I get what they're trying to do, but it seems so unnecessary. Is that going to boot me off? No, it immediately booted that, which is fine. I just need to change the boot order. Because IPXE is what I'm using on VirtualBox. Yeah. It's not even booting that ISO. Like, I've told it, hey, boot from the DVD drive, boot that ISO, and it doesn't know what to do. It just immediately boots from the network. I wonder if it's because I'm in secure boot. No, just immediately kicks me straight to... Alright, well, I tried. Didn't work. You saw it, I tried. Oh. Well, now we can shut this down. Sudo cp NFS root primary boot -53 540 38 generic to here. $42, $35, $42, cool. Yeah. I don't care enough about Fedora to test it out. $17 for PST. So yeah, this one at least, so this one loads IPXE anyway. And then we're gonna go native. And theoretically, this uses our new kernel, which includes VirtualBox additions, which will allow me to resize the window. I'd also need to find out how to set the frame buffer to use the VirtualBox one. Unless it uses it by default. Nope, it crashed. Hit proper crash. Let's make sure that it actually works on non-VirtualBox. I guess I'm uninstalling the VirtualBox guest editions then. VirtualBox editions.service. The estimate is 1.5 minutes. No, 5 minutes. Or is the timeout 5 minutes? Couldn't launch the VirtualBox stuff here. It's understandable. It's not that much slower. Let's try again. We're just waiting for it to crash, right? That's the expectation here. The Arch Linux download is finished too. A promising sign. Definitely got further than before. Now let's see if it successfully loads the VirtualBox editions. Yeah? Seems to be okay. Still trying to launch VirtualBox add.service. Launched everything else. It gives it a solid 5 minutes to try and do that. That's right, I forgot to delete snapshots for this VM. This guy didn't boot, Okay, so the Arch Linux one is not signed. Okay, VirtualBox Editions did launch. So theoretically that window should resize. Or the VM's screen should resize to fit the window. The BIOS taking this long is expected. BIOS. Slower. You're joking. So there's a convenient script called installation guide. However, the first letter is capitalized. And so... And it opens the guide. What idiot designed this bullcrap? I don't know. Do I have to... Prepare the installation medium, boot the live environment. It didn't give me an option to boot the live environment. You'll need to disable secure boot. I've done that. Verify the boot mode. Connect to the internet. Well, obviously I'm connected to the internet. What more do you want from me? Yeah, it is. Partition the disks. Why does it... Why do I have to do that myself? Arch Linux is not for me. I'm noticing a distinct lack of VirtualBox window resizing. I don't like that that didn't ask me if I wanted to delete the VM drive that I no longer need. Hey Root. Overall not bad. Attempted to try out Fedora and Arch. Arch required command line, and for me to manually do the partitions, which, like, it's a virtual machine, I shouldn't have to put in that effort. It's an empty drive, just do the thing. And right now we're trying out a resizable I think this is what? Resizable VM using VirtualBox and VirtualBox Editions, which required installing kernel modules, which on non-VirtualBox environments means that the kernel takes longer to boot up. The mouse movement itself is smoother because it's not tied to the frame buffer, which can be a bit annoying, but this is not great. I told it to auto resize. Why didn't you? There we go. It does work. But yeah. BIOS in general is just slower. And if I can use UEFI with Secure Boot, that is what I'm going to prioritize. Primarily because of performance. Like, visual performance is slightly better. Hang on, let's it does feel snappier, but that initial boot up that takes way too long. And like, this is how slow booting up OBS is. Like, this should not take more than half a second. Yeah, it's using the VMware graphics adapter. Like, this is not okay. Ah, cool. The run script has an uninstall. Like, this is... and, like, this isn't the fault of VirtualBox or the guest editions. This is purely BIOS NFS being slower. It literally crashed. It literally segfaulted. Like, resizing is nice, but not at the detriment of every other capability. Okay, 2.5 minutes for PST. I like how it needs to extract the installer so that it can remove the guest editions. But yeah, once stuff works on UEFI, and once it works with UEFI and Secure Boot, then that's all you need. It's snappy, especially with a gigabit connection. All your apps run, and it works on any device on your network. But the Surface devices, which I'll be testing later. I need to figure out where I'm going to put that laptop, or what I'm going to do with the Linux install on it, in case I ever need any of those config files again. Because there is a hard drive in there. And now it's regenerating the RAM disk and then the kernel, so that they don't have the VirtualBox editions. I'll have to recopy them over, so I don't accidentally... I mean, I could technically keep a copy that has the VirtualBox editions in the kernel, but without it running as a service, it probably won't work 100%. That's my guess anyway. Today's been a learning experience, though. Yesterday was getting it to work, and today was, what crazy things can we do? Yeah, there you go, Tim. Happy New Year to PST. That's exactly it, Tim. Don't install Arch Linux. And there's no point in Fedora if you've got Ubuntu. I will see if I can play around with that thing you linked, though. It does seem neat. Pretty much. The system appears to have them already installed. If you wish to replace it with this version, please do not continue. The system simply has the remains of a version of the additions you could not remove, and these will be removed. Yeah. I mean, most of the ones in this list I don't care for. The whole thing just seems overkill. Alright. At the very least, VirtualBox does work. So that's fun. Alright, let's just verify that everything is back to how it should be. Let's do it with the Hyper-V. Frame buffer. Oh right, I turned off Secure Boot. I was like, that shouldn't work. That doesn't work in Secure Boot. Yeah, I turned off Secure Boot for Arch. Interesting. Alright, well. The functional VM. So I'll test out the surface stuff once I've kind of rearranged things. And that's it. That's all she wrote. Thank you for joining me for these 2 days of New Year streams. Just pop up 33 one, which is Alaska, which is in an hour, which would mean a 5-hour stream, and I'm good with a 4-hour stream for today. Thanks for watching. Happy New Year, and see you guys in the next stream. Bye bye.
Same people, same places, same parties. Am I just a ghost at night? Too many street lights in this city. I'm missing our ocean side. I've been running, but I can't escape the feeling that I've been away for far too long. 'Cause there's something about our love that brings me peace of mind. Something special.